knucklehead. What are you doing here? I don't think
He's about that tall.
I know, I'm not coming.
He does this, he talks.
After that, Toby, let's hear you do your best Taylor Moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You gotta cross your eyes, man.
Yeah.
What was your favorite story arc, like favorite villain story arc throughout the whole series?
These are hard, but we have to revisit. Like, I don't want to just, I can't commit to one.
Doomtree, the circus one, I can't.
Doomtree was good.
Our
Snatchers, yeah.
The Black Moon. Black Moon.
I think the Doomtree's the one that's
Did y'all ever like wish that you could voice act Sailor Stars?
I think so. I was quite happy just being Ray and Sailor Mars. I can't.
Just voice acting for the series.
Oh, I see.
It's the last
Can I give
season.
it-
Okay, if we continued, yeah, I know. Well, Susan touched on this at another con. The problem was censorship, right? Wasn't that the issue of why it didn't continue? They just couldn't get enough episodes together because they had to censor a lot of it out. So I believe that's why it didn't continue, but I don't know.
We'd do anything we could, quite frankly. You want to do it? Yep. When do you want me? Right now? I gotta go right now? I gotta go. What's this in a heartbeat?
Speaking of censorship, I'm sure you guys have heard this between the internet and other cons you've gone to. I understand that sometimes some things do have to be changed in the dub, especially since Sailor Moon was released in the late 90s before they started to realize, oh, well, we don't have to change that much. People will still enjoy that. Have you ever gone back and heard of or looked at some of the differences between either scenes, characters, or whole episodes and just gone like, wow, why did they do that?
Well, the whole business with Uranus and Neptune. I mean, I remember recording this, right, and I'm innocent little Linda, just sitting there up there. What do I do? Okay, here we go. And I'm like, wow. Every time they come together, it looks like they're in love because their faces sort of go together, and there's all these hearts. Ooh, oh. And I'm like, they're cousins. They're cousins. Cousins. That. Now, they weren't ready for it in those days, and I would love it to be redone properly now because. You know, it's a whole new world, and it's the real story, yeah. And a part of me wishes that they had pushed that, just gone, no, let's go for it. They may have alienated a bunch of people. They may have just sort of lost a bunch of people. I think that's what they were worried about. But I don't think they would now. I think it would be way more popular, way more. So I would love to redo that part for sure.
Okay. I think you guys said yesterday, and I've heard from many people, that Sailor Mercury is the least popular here. Why do you think that is?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I love her.
I've never heard that Mercury was the least popular. When we were in Vancouver, Sailor Mars kind of got trashed a lot, so I always thought it was because, you know, she was strong. But yeah, I've never heard the Mercury thing. I think everybody has a favorite. I think that the reason people have their favorites is because they relate to it. They're all so different. They have huge backstories, and I think you gravitate toward who you are most like. So I've never heard the Mercury thing. She's super smart. How would you know?
Before Sailor Moon, have you ever had like a favorite, or have you ever watched anime or manga? And if you haven't, after Sailor Moon, have you had any favorites of anime or manga that you had?
Before Sailor Moon, there really wasn't any anime that was here. Sailor Moon was kind of the first one that came over, really. I have 3 teenage daughters. My eldest is like an anime junkie for everything but Sailor Moon. Do you know why? Because she's evil. That child is evil, I tell you. My kids don't tell people that I was Sailor Moon. They just don't. So it's quite funny. But their attitude is, Mom, you don't just come out to someone and say, oh, hi, what do you want for lunch? Do you want to come over to my house for lunch? By the way, my mom's Sailor Moon. That's not in a conversation. But there have been times when it has been in a conversation, and she still hasn't told anyone. For instance, last year she was chosen one of 20 kids in Canada that got to go to Japan. She got to spend 2 weeks in Japan. She got to go to the tsunami area and see how all how the village had done and was rebuilt. She got to tour around Japan for 2 weeks, all expenses paid by the Japanese government. It was the opportunity of a lifetime. And when they picked these 20 kids from the school, they said, okay, we've got to prepare you. We've got about 6 months to prepare you to go there. We're going to put you all into different groups, and each group is going to have something that they have to research on Japan, like the language, the food, the culture, and the entertainment. So my daughter said, I'll do the entertainment. I know anime, I know all this stuff, I know manga, I know all that stuff. So she and her little group of warriors went about, figuring, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And she came over to me one day, she goes, Mom, do you still know anyone that worked on Sailor Moon? Well, I do know Sailor Moon. No, Mommy, I'm serious. Like, do you know anybody that worked on Sailor Moon? I'm like, Madeline, like, I was Sailor Moon. She goes, I know, but Mom, seriously, do you know anybody else? I'm like, I'm gonna kill her. So she did this whole presentation to her school and mentioned Sailor Moon, but didn't say, P.S. my mother's Sailor Moon. And I'm like, yeah. So then the night before they're leaving, I got to meet the teacher who's in charge, and he was also in charge of the anime club and the Japanese club in the school, and he said, Madeline did a fantastic job on her presentation. She was just so knowledgeable about all this stuff. It's amazing how much she knows about it. And I was like, I have issues. He was like, what? I have issues with her. Did she mention to you at all that I was Sailor Moon? And he went, what do you mean you were Sailor Moon? And I said, well, I was actually the voice of Sailor Moon. And he went, and then he couldn't talk to me. He was just like, he didn't know what to say. He was just like all flustered. He just like the whole night he sort of kept looking over and his cheeks were all red right down here. So when she finally went to Japan, she had to stay with the family for about 4 nights. And they were a lovely family, and they spoke a lot of English, and they started talking to her one night about all the different animes and stuff, and they said to her, do you know such and such, and did you ever watch Sailor Moon? And Madeline's like, yes, I watched Sailor Moon a little bit. And then she finally said, okay, actually my mother was Sailor Moon. And they were like, And so I've told this story before, right? And one time we had this huge audience, and I got the whole audience to go, I can't even remember what I said. Madeline, you're a loser. Tell people or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But so last week she comes over and she goes, Mom, just so you know, I told your little secret. And I'm like, what secret did you tell? She goes, I told them your little secret. I told my friends that you were Sailor Moon. I win!